Hi, Stephanie. My name is Yan. So I know you have experienced student homelessness, and just from a personal perspective, I was surprised to see that as one of the topics that were being shared as a part of the Human Library, because I feel like myself and a lot of other students have a certain perspective on homelessness that are more common to what we see in big cities and large cities, and we often don't find ourselves um, close to that or near that at all. So, can you share your story and how? Um, well, first, what are some of the things you realized from your experience as a student who was homeless?
Okay, yeah. So like, I guess it's for most people, I guess you wouldn't think that I would be someone who has experienced student homelessness. Um, and, you know, like I have like a 3.7 GPA and I'm applying to law school and like all of these things. And like, it's not really something I talk about normally, right? Because it's not something you'd expect. But like at the time, I was going to community college. I was 20. Uh, I worked part time. I attended class regularly. I had good grades, and my family loves me. So it wasn't like, for a lot of people, they think like, misfortune, like some sort of misfortune, or like homeless people brought something upon themselves, right? Like they were like addicts or just like anything. Like we imagine someone on the street. But for me, my experience was really different. Like I was staying in a place with my housemate in Hayward, which is in the Bay Area, and my landlord told us that she was going to construct more rooms in the building. We were like, okay, we're going to look for something new. So we just like put some ads out on Craigslist, and we had a lot of positive responses from other students in the area. So we were like, okay, this is great. My housemate had a job and I did too, and we were both students, and we felt like confident that we were going to find a new place. So we just gave our 30-day notice because we had really positive responses. At the end of those 30 days, unfortunately, we didn't have a place to stay. So we ended up moving to my friend's aunt's house, and we stayed there temporarily. And like at first, it was okay. She gave us a roof and like a place to store our stuff, and like it was good. But like we still needed to find housing, and we were still struggling. So at this one moment, we had like a really big fight, and like that was kind of like when I knew like, okay, I really need to leave. And yeah, so I just like bounced around from different friends' houses, and I continued to go to school and work. And yeah, so there was like only one night where I was actually staying in my car, luckily. Um, I basically parked somewhere close to campus. It was weird. It was mostly like a dark street, but there was like a light nearby too, because I was like concerned about safety, I guess, and also like concerned with like I didn't want people to see me. So I would my normal day would be like I'd go to class and then I would go to work and then maybe go to Starbucks or do my laundry or something. Like Starbucks is where I did like most of my studying, and then also that's where I would use the internet to go on Craigslist and try and find more places to live. Um, and then so after that, I would go to 24-hour fitness. Maybe I'd work out or maybe I'd just shower, and then I'd find a friend's house to stay. And then so eventually by mid-October, I found new housing. So like I signed a lease starting November 1st, and I just had to like bounce around different places until I moved in. So
Mm-hmm.
like how long was I really homeless for? Was it like that whole period of time, from like August until November 1st, right? Like was I homeless that whole time, or was it like is it technically just the few weeks that I spent like bouncing around different places, or was it the one night that I stayed in my car? It's
Mm-hmm.
kind of hard to say.
And at any point during that process, um, were you able to, or did you want to reach out to your family for assistance?
So, like, my family wasn't really in the position to help me, so it wasn't something that I ever felt like I wanted to disclose to them. I actually
Mhm.
still haven't talked to them about it, um, because like they wouldn't have been able to help me. So it's like the point of like causing my mom grief, or like why would I hurt her like that? So no.
So you brought up a lot of different challenges that students might face in the face of homelessness, such as not having enough money, not being able to find other people, not being able to find available housing. When you were going through what do you feel would have been helpful for you
Yeah.
while you were going through it?
So I think if there was some sort of like crisis housing program that was like specifically advertised for students, that would have been really helpful. But yeah, like if a resource like that existed, and then I guess the second question would be like, how do you get people to actually use it, right? Because like
Hmm.
at that time, I was thinking like, no, like I wasn't thinking that this was something that it was happening to me, and that I was at risk. But then also, I think a really great way to like reach out to students, like someone suggested to me, is you could have like flyers for this crisis housing, like on every bathroom stall or something. Me personally, I went to the gym to shower, so that would be a good place, maybe to put some. And I'm not sure
Hmm.
how many students do that, honestly, but that would be a place. And then also at the end of like every syllabus, if we could have something that was like, this is the crisis housing
Hmm.
hotline, or mental health or whatever at the bottom. I just think that that's like a really cool place that you could put resources, because like for 4 or 5, 6 years, however long it takes you, you would be seeing that number,
Hmm.
right? So when something happens, you might actually call.
Right.
So
Well, thank you for sharing your story.
yeah, thanks for listening.